Friday Night Smackdown, September 11, 2020. What do you need to know? What's the biggest talking point? Well, in my opinion, the biggest talking point on this show was Bayley addressing her attack on Sasha Banks. Now, obviously, as we know, last week, Bayley brutally assaulted Sasha Banks. So this week, Bayley took a steel chair to the ring, sat down, and proceeded to cut a pretty damn good little promo about why she attacked Sasha Banks, talking about how Sasha thought she was using her, but ultimately it was Bayley who was using Sasha Banks, saying that Bayley used Sasha Banks to become the greatest SmackDown Women's Champion of all time, and now Sasha Banks is out of commission. This is Bayley's division. Bayley rules the WWE Women's Division and whatnot, so pretty good promo from Bayley. She explained herself. She gave us this great visual, which will probably be the thumbnail, so yeah, big props to Bayley for that. As for the rest of SmackDown, honestly, not a lot to really say. I mean, there were some notable things, but on the whole, the show was kind of a bit dull. Like, the ending of the show was just dull. Most of the stuff, the Otis stuff was whatever. The Intercontinental title stuff was predictable. A lot of kind of mediocre stuff. So, basically, in the second hour, we opened the second hour with the Bayley promo. Then we had this. We had a fatal four-way match to determine the number one contender to Bayley. It was, Lacey Evans, Tamina, Nikki Cross, and someone else I can't even remember because they're that notable. So we had that match. Naomi wasn't in it, so hashtag Naomi Deserves Better began trending for about the fourth unique week. So, look out for that if you're on Twitter. So we had that. In the match, we had Alexa Bliss. Yes, Alexa Bliss came down and proceeded to hit a Sister Abigail on Nikki Cross before a commercial onto the floor. So the dynamic between Bliss and Wyatt is currently still going on, which is pretty cool. It's cool to see Alexa Bliss, that character work. So she had the Sister Abigail, you can see it here. Basically, in the end, Nikki Cross came back after a commercial break, hit a couple of moves, and won the match. So we're getting Nikki Cross versus Bayley at Clash of Champions. We've seen this at, two different pay-per-views already? We've seen Bayley versus Nikki Cross. The SmackDown Women's Division has no one. They really need a shake-up because Bayley's beaten everyone. The Raw Women's Division isn't very good, but she needs some new opponents. We've just seen this. I don't really care to see Bayley versus Cross. It's just a placeholder until Sasha Banks comes back. So, yeah, that's the kind of women's division on SmackDown of sorts. The rest of this show, I guess I'll talk about the Universal title stuff. So we open the show with Roman Reigns coming out with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, his little promo that he cut was probably the best thing on the show outside the Bayley promo. Heyman's cutting this really good promo about, how Jey Uso, he solved a riddle and he beat a king and whatnot. He's doing this kind of, this good promo. And then we have Jey Uso come out. It's an alright back and forth about family and how they're the bloodline. Then Corbin came out and I wanted to change the channel. And then Sheamus came out and they set up this tag match in the main event where Roman Reigns was competing on SmackDown for the first time in 7 months. We had this match. The match was whatever. Basically, Jey Uso competed in a handicap match versus Corbin and Sheamus for 5 minutes. Roman Reigns came out wearing a vest, but it had wreck everyone and leave on it, and then he hit a spear and then pinned, he pinned Sheamus, right? So yeah, he's standing there to close the show, and then he's standing with the title, and Jey Uso touches his arm, and then Reigns looks at him what are you doing? So that was literally the ending to the show. A bit whatever. I don't really know. I wanted Reigns attacking Jey Uso. They're not doing that just yet. They're clearly saving that for Clash of Champions. So that was whatever. This was another thing, as you're seeing on screen. Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse revealing a new friend, and it was Wobbly Walrus, which funny little rib at Paul Heyman. I can respect it. It's something. It's going to help with some long-term storytelling, I presume. So, yeah, that's cool. Wobbly Walrus is now in the Firefly Funhouse. We had a Vince impression there as well. So, that was good. And then the rest of the show, not a lot worth talking about. The rest of the show was complete filler. There was this, where we had Cesaro and Nakamura versus Lucha House Party for about the 7th straight week in a tag match, because, I kid you not, the SmackDown Tag Team division, the only actual tag team who's competing at the moment is Lucha House Party and Cesaro and Nakamura, because Miz and Morrison, Otis and Tucker, they're in the midst of this dumb, corny storyline where tonight on SmackDown we had Otis beat John Morrison again, and we proceeded to have Miz run off with the Otis's lunchbox briefcase, and then of course they did the backstage segment 5 minutes later where Miz opens the briefcase and there's no contract in there. Then Otis opens the briefcase, and there's a contract. Hilarious comedy, Bruce. I'm dying laughing. So there was that. This SmackDown tag thing was dumb. The Street Profits are in the celebration lounge or whatever, having a party, and then Cesaro and Nakamura are just staring at them for 30 seconds, as you just saw on screen there. They're just staring at them, and then the match just ends by having one of the Lucha House Party guys roll up Cesaro. So they were just so distracted by 30 seconds. Drew Gulak was at the party for some reason. I don't know why Drew Gulak was there. That doesn't fit his character at all. But anyway, we had that. And then the IC title. There was an IC title match. Styles and Hardy. Sami Zayn just interfered. That's about it. So that was Friday Night SmackDown for September 11th, 2020. Nothing incredibly notable. Or one thing I want to mention also, Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee is on Raw, which, I mean, okay, do I review Raw now? I'm tempted. I'll at least watch this match and probably tweet about it. But yeah, that's Friday Night SmackDown for September 11th, 2020. Overall, Bayley talking was good, and that's honestly about it. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, sub. You guys know the drill. Road to 1,000 subscribers. If you made it to this part in the video and you're not subbed, hit the sub button. What are you doing? So yeah, like, comment, sub. You guys know the drill. See ya.